when
the
that happens?
first thing that popped up is resentment. So unmet expectations that as an actualized person you're communicating, they just don't live up to the promises that they made at the beginning of the relationship. They're not honoring the negotiations that you guys had.
Yeah.
And constantly trying to make up the difference that they're not adding. But you already made the commitment, so you could participate in the interaction.
Right.
But as you're participating, it's taking so much from you that you're not seeing the value of it. And once you can't see the value of something, you instantly just don't care about it. And the lack of concern will naturally lead to a lack of respect. You're not a person worthy of your attention in that capacity. Renee.
What's up?
This is so crazy to me.
What?
I'm excited.
What?
I say that every episode, but now, no, excited is not the word. I am.
Yeah, define it. Name it.
I'm ecstatic.
Ooh, wow. That's a
bigger word.
That's an upgrade.
I'm ecstatic and I'm pleased and I feel accomplished.
Aw, wow, you really effectively communicated that.
I'm glad that I can effectively communicate when I have a podcast. That'd be crazy.
That talks about how you need to effectively communicate.
Right? I'm saying. No, I am just in high spirits.
Hell yeah.
We have made it.
Oh yeah.
All the way to episode 10. This is our 10th episode.
We're
and you know what they
here.
say, if you can make it to your 10th episode, you're officially actually
doing
a
the damn
podcast.
thing.
Yeah. So this is a little milestone for us and I feel great. And for all the listeners that tune in every week, I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you can see the progress because, man, I think our episode is sounding so much better than they did when we started.
I was going to say, I think the progression is very obvious if you listen to our first episode to now. We've already, have grown so much
and that was
in this podcast.
You guys maybe don't understand it, but that was like half a year?
Of
progress, just like learning and relearning and redoing and growing pains, just like that. No fighting, unfortunately, not a lot of drama.
Yeah. Unfortunately, guys, behind the scenes drama we cannot give you.
We cannot give you at all.
We're way too self-actualized.
Literally, man. I really wish there was. Like you're just telling us about your friend who's podcasting. There's like behind the scenes drama.
Yeah,
but like we don't have. I don't think we'll ever have.
No, I don't think that. I don't think our personalities are capable of that with one another.
Boring.
A little bit. Maybe we could bring the spice. We'll figure it out.
Fabricated drama is so dumb. That's so dumb.
Look, you don't have look, Jem. You don't have to worry about it. You won't even know.
No, because that means that like you're gonna intentionally do the thing that you know I hate, and why would you do that, right?
like why would that when you're my friend?
Right? Like why are you doing this to me? Renee, why are you doing this to me? Oh my goodness!
My
but no, I'm so excited, and we just finished that long ass series.
Yeah, this is the first episode post that series,
which is still going to be kind of related to the series because why not?
Right.
But like we were saying earlier, we created a very idealistic situation.
Yeah,
right?
We did.
Very ideal, and we have to bring it back down to earth and understand that even with your best intentions, not everything always works out.
Yes.
So what can you do except move on and process not being together, aka breaking up with your love of your life and the person that you're trying to find?
We created this really beautiful relationship that we're going to tear apart. Yeah.
Tear apart in the next couple episodes.
It ended. It's done. It's over.
It's over. You have to deal with it. Oh my God, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But
no, because I think that's like it's a notion that like. I mean, it's easier said than done, I think, of people, even though they may know that just because you work really hard at something and do all the right things and take the right steps, it may not work out. It's still really difficult when that does happen.
I think even more difficult for the people that we're talking to in these episodes, because you've done the work. You found a person that's done the work.
Right.
And just because that happens doesn't mean that's going to work out.
Right.
And that's one, a very hard pill to swallow. And two, even harder to go to like work through than like a toxic person that you knew was never good for you to begin with.
Right. It's easy there to latch on to all the reasons why that was not a good situation for you. But in this scenario, it's a little bit more difficult to grasp because then you're having to face yourself a little bit more because there's no fluff mask the reasons why we broke up.
You can't be a victim.
You can't say, oh, well, you know what? He gaslit me all the time. No. So that was why.
He didn't. He was helping.
No? He's like, actually, he was very, right. He was actually really affirmed me. And then, wait, what's his number again?
Yeah, right. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Calls him back. Hey, happy birthday.
No. I was just thinking
happy
of you.
birthday text.
This strange time that we're in really got me thinking about what we used to have.
Pandemic text. Oh my God.
And it just made me think how like I don't want to take things for granted, and just know that I never took you for granted. Just thinking about you, you have a good time. I'm way too good.
Horrible.
I hate it. Oh my goodness. I'm not a fuckboy. Please, I'm not. I swear.
You're like, I swear. I'm good. I'm wholesome.
Don't judge me.
Sure.
Hey, I don't want to hear that from you. You know too much.
I know.
You know too much.
You're like that. Yeah. You're like, that's real, right? Like that's.
Oh my God.
You know way too much.
But yeah, so today, this episode.
Yes.
Is going to be about breakups.
Yes, we are talking breakups.
How to process them, how to go through them, what to do when it happens, and how to move forward on the path that is romance. Yeah. And Renee has an opinion, like she always does.
I always have an opinion.
And you'll hear her opinion. But first, let's talk about a very relevant breakup that's happening right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right? Isn't that so crazy?
With Ariana Grande.
Oh man, the queen.
Yeah.
Slay, bitch.
Another one for the books.
I'm so over her. I love her.
I know.
I love her so much. She's so cute. She's so wholesome.
Right.
And she's so beautiful. But at this point, I don't know. I don't know if I can get behind her anymore. Because Mac Miller, sure, he was on drugs. Pete Davidson, a serial dater.
Right.
But this is a guy that, I know nothing about their relationship. I know nothing about this man.
Yeah.
But supposedly, this is a real estate man.
Yeah.
Well put together. Courted her well. Very wholesome, very put together.
Very normal dude.
Yeah. And something didn't work out.
Yeah.
I am very hesitant to say that he was the problem.
Well, and it's also
I think it was her.
I think that maybe he was a normal guy, but he's a normal guy because he's not in this, or a seemingly normal guy because he's not in the spotlight. So who knows what's wrong with him?
Yeah, who knows? But
maybe she just doesn't pick well,
True. But even if that's the case, she would be the problem.
She would to her life story. Yes. Yeah.
Poor thing.
And this is her second engagement. Fairly quick engagement as well. I think they got engaged
a couple months in.
I think it might have been a little longer than that, but still, I think anything less than 2 years is quick.
Yeah.
Personally, that's my own
if they made it, they didn't even make it to their third year yet, and they're already splitting up. So be engaged for 2 years. What's the problem?
Yeah.
You have the rest of your life. Why are you rushing?
Right, just date them. Wait a little longer. So much can be revealed in a year.
No, exactly, 100%. I think these celebrities are just bored. And being married is a thing to do. That's the new sensational thing.
Right.
Like Kylie Jenner was bored at 20, so she decided to have a baby, and then another one because why not? She can afford it.
Right, very
baby
true.
As an accessory, very interesting, but no.
Very easily to get a good lawyer to write a Loctite prenup.
Exactly. I mean, she's not even married to the boy, so it doesn't even matter.
Right.
So,
but in that sense with Ariana Grande, there's no worry about okay, if there is divorce, my assets, you know what I mean?
Right.
You easily hire a really great lawyer to get you a nice prenup.
Also
bada
at
bing, bada boom.
$200 million of a net worth, probably more.
Yeah.
I don't think you're really worried about splitting costs. Jeff Bezos, he divorced that motherfucker, she's a very nice lady, and she was cheated on him. No, she's not a motherfucker. He divorced Mackenzie.
Yeah, his ex-wife,
whatever her name was, and. $65 billion down.
Well, I think the reason why though is because they were married before he even
was even anything.
Exactly.
But $65 billion down. The next week he was already back to 112.
Yeah.
Bill. So
it's came and went.
Right.
No
one really cares.
Yeah.
At least at that level, I don't think you're really worried about.
Totally.
Oh no, he gets $50 million.
Right. Amazon's not gonna fail as a company the next day.
No,
I don't think he has
to
go worry about
my other billions of dollars. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus Christ.
Totally.
But apparently his Jeff Bezos relationship is not the best either with his mistress.
Wasn't that the one where he sent those really weird texts?
I have no. I don't.
He said, Oh, it was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember. He wrote a weird, like, it was a leaked text that I think that leaked the affair, essentially. Where he was like, said something that about her face or something like that. I don't know. It was something weird.
Nerds
like,
flirting.
It was just like, yeah, the phrasing was just so strange.
Right. Interesting.
Anyways, yeah.
Probably. But apparently she was like really into Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh.
Too old for him, obviously,
well, she dated Gavin Newsom.
Oh, what? Wow.
Governor of California.
Yeah, that's, well.
She was, I'm almost certain that is Gavin Newsom's ex.
Dude, playing a drinking game with who dated who in like celebrity
is that
world
insane?
Would probably kill me.
Yeah.
And I can drink a lot, which is insane.
Oops.
But back to Ariana Grande.
Yes.
I think that she's the problem or this is a scam.
Oh.
It's
a scam.
It's a scam.
For sure.
To bring publicity to her upcoming role in Wicked.
I'm not even a musical person, but I'm excited to see that.
I'm definitely she's perfect.
Right, 100%.
She's the green girl?
No, she plays the pink.
Of course. Why wouldn't she?
I know.
That was a dumb fucking thing to
I'm
say.
sorry I don't know the names. I think people might be upset. Like the names.
Yeah.
I don't remember the names.
I don't know their names either. And I should. Like I do.
You're more of a musical guy than I am. Like you like musicals.
Yeah. And I like Wicked too.
Yeah.
I don't remember their names. Like, oh, the good witch. The green one.
I was like, the pink one and the green one.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
That's all you,
right.
We are communicating it and we
perfectly.
understand. So.
And the audience will understand exactly what we're saying.
100%. So do we really need names? No.
No.
But no, I think it's to bring PR to do her role in that.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's a very opportune time.
PR, like the way that people talk about PR agencies, they are like, they must be freaking masterminds. You know what I mean?
They're playing fourth dimensional chess.
Right, they're on a level that we aren't even existing in. Because like to connect like a divorce to like, I don't know, like I get it because it's the person.
Yeah.
Sure, but like still it's like how does that bring that would
never come to my mind.
Right.
That at all. Like, you're getting divorced, let's release this.
It's like,
convenient.
So
that it brings attention, you know?
Or you're getting divorced, let's hold on to it because we might be able to use this to our advantage later.
Like, man,
you know?
Maybe they're just like master manipulators.
Yeah, it's the perfect profession.
What do you mean?
Not you self-naming yourself a master manipulator.
That's not going on the podcast.
Oh
Anyways. But yeah, no, it's either that or she's the problem, and maybe Victoria Justice was onto something. I'm going to start a petition.
Or to Ariana Grande's benefit, maybe just celebrity relationships are really hard. And it's hard to like, I can see where it's even like, it's hard to like grow and do self-work as a person when you have constant external feedback all the time. It's like, you see like the whole trope about child stars and how like they like, as they get into adulthood, they can't function as adults because they weren't able to grow up because they've been in the spotlight their whole life. So
everything
maybe
they did was for other people.
Exactly. So maybe it's just hard. And I'm gonna.
I hate that you're giving her grace right now. That's not interesting. That's not newsworthy. Justice for Victoria Justice.
Oh my God.
I'm starting a petition. So you can be reasonable. You can be reasonable, and that's fine. Oh, it's so hard to be a celebrity star. No, Justice for Victoria Justice. Maybe she was onto something. Maybe it should have been her.
Dead.
What kind of slimy, sneaky thing was Ariana Grande doing to her behind the scenes, underneath that bubbly exterior? It's time to unveil. It's time to peel back the curtains on what that was.
I'm dead.
We were so quick to take her side, and we're always so quick to take Ariana Grande's side.
Suspicious.
Very suspicious. We need to get to the bottom of this, and I will.
Oh my God!
Tune in for the next couple of months. We will get. I will find out what happened.
This podcast is becoming a Justice for Victoria Justice podcast,
and you guys are going to sign on if you're
whether you like it or not.
The intellectuals, no. Justice for Victoria Justice.
Yeah.
Ugh, poor girl.
For sure.
But on that note, completely 180ing it up.
Yeah.
I'm very curious, bringing it back to like relationships and all that, making it relevant again to our conversation about breakups. This is the question. You guys know that we do these questions every week, and we started posting them on social media, and you guys kind of love them. So we're going to keep doing it, and I love hearing your guys' feedback. Some of you guys have the worst takes in the world, but it's okay.
But, you know, for the discourse.
Yeah, this is what we're here for. This is literally what we're trying to do. So don't feel bad. Even if you have a horrible take and you want to put it,
please put it.
Feel free.
So I don't think people that have horrible takes necessarily know that their take is horrible.
Yeah, and I don't think they care. Even if they did, I don't think they would care.
Say your piece.
Say your piece and be at peace, and I will love it all the same. But my question today, in the spirit of breaking up, do you think it is possible to be friends with your ex?
What a question.
What a question. I have no stakes in this because I'm never friends with exes. That shit's very crazy. But I do talk to a lot of women that are friends with their exes. And I'm not a person that seems, I'm not a person that is like feeling some type of way.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably better than their ex. It's very rare that I wouldn't be. But
for sure.
That being said, they have access to a person I'm talking to far beyond anything that I could achieve. Experiences and memories are more powerful than the present. Doesn't matter what I bring to the table. If they're living in the fantasy, they're living in the hypothetical, and that's a powerful place to be because the mind is a very powerful place. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's definitely a heavily talked about one.
I have a very distinct opinion about this, which I will explain at the end of the episode.
Oh, so you're making them wait for it.
Of course. You have to listen through it. Duh.
Yeah.
Come on now. A no-brainer.
Yeah.
But
well, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
For sure.
But again, let us know in the comments. Do you think that you can be friends with your ex?
Yeah.
Are you friends with your ex? Have you ever been friends with your ex?
How did that go?
Yeah. Hey, did it work out? All that stuff.
Right.
So let us know. And as we continue to talking about why you should or should not do that.
Yeah. We are now going to segue into talking about a breakup and breaking up. Yeah, I don't know. Breakups are hard. I've been through 2 breakups.
Damn.
And oh God, they were so devastating. I don't know. No, I do know. They were devastating. And it was just such an emotional like turmoil. It's heavy. It's dark.
Why so tumultuous?
When you're with someone, you are not just existing in the present with them, but you have created these memories from the past.
Right.
You are also essentially creating a path and a future with this person.
Damn.
Right? You know, you talk about like, even if you're like, you know, you're 20 and you're still like, oh, we're going to get married and we're going to like have kids. Like, oh, you know, like you start formulating, oh, like, would you want to live in like this city together? Oh, like, what's your trajectory for like work? Oh, okay, well, we'll live together for, you know, you have these conversations, especially when you've been with someone if you've been with someone a year, you're talking about these things, right? And you're imagining that future.
They become the default person that you think of when you future plan.
Exactly. And so when a breakup happens, not only are you breaking up with that person, but you're breaking up with the future that you had, that you had formulated.
Wait, say that shit again. That's crazy.
When you have a breakup, you're not just breaking up with the person, but with the future that you thought you were going to have.
That is bars. And I don't know why I never thought of it like that, but it's putting such crazy things into perspective for me, because like because people are like, not worthless, but like right. People are replaceable, which is not better. But like, it's like, why are you so distraught? If you could get him, you could probably get another person that's like him, right? So like, why are you stressed out? It's not just the person; it's the entire life path that you were like on that is just completely disrupted. That has you not knowing where you stand, just completely disoriented.
I was going to say it's a very disorienting process, because even in probably a lot of like literal ways, I mean, depending on like how entangled you were with that person, you are having to pivot on a life path. So say guys were talking about, you know, she's moving for work to Alabama, and he planned on, you know, quitting his job and moving there with her because his job is more flexible, yada yada yada. You had this plan to set that up. You break up,
leases.
You break up.
God
like
damn.
that life path, that trajectory that you're going to have, this life in Alabama. Why did I choose Alabama?
Yeah, that sounds so whack, bro. Like, oh, not my Alabama life. Hey, yo.
Alabama has actually just been talked about a lot in my like circle.
Sure.
Anyways.
Yikes. Anyways.
You had this trajectory for like envisioning a life in Alabama with this person. Now it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm actually going to be staying in the city when I've been prepping friends, family, the community I have here that I'm leaving. It's disorienting.
And then having to explain all that to people.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I don't tell people shit.
That's why I keep it close to my chest. Ain't nobody got to know.
Ain't
nothing.
Nobody know my next move. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. So it's a very like heart wrenching thing. You're really mourning. You're in mourning 100%. It's a grieving process that you're going through. Damn. So that's why that's hard. It's hard. It's not fun. But I do think as you get older, breakups do become, you understand the process, and you maybe, it's not that it doesn't hurt as much, but you're able to overcome it and sift through it a little bit easier.
Because I guess you don't like necessarily attach yourself to the outcome as much. I think when you're younger, it's a lot easier to like really future fantasize to a way that when that doesn't work out, you really don't have any context of it not working out. So when it doesn't work out, you're just like, why?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? What's wrong with this? How could I have been so incorrect?
Yeah.
You know?
No, 100%. I remember my first relationship, I felt like, well, this is my boyfriend. I think I love him, so I'll be with him forever. Sure.
Damn.
Never been through a breakup, so don't understand what that like looks like.
I chose him, so he must be the one.
Right. Even
Yikes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we know how that was.
Yeah, we know.
Oh,
horrible.
Could you imagine he's listening to this right now? Like that's the fourth time. That's the fourth time we referenced this man. And
I highly doubt that that first ex is listening to my podcast.
Hey, you know who you are if you're listening in.
If you
comment
are,
in,
he like
I'm
disappeared
so
off like the face of the earth in my like opinion. Right. So
you guys don't follow each other on social medias or nothing?
No, I don't even know that he like is on social media.
Interesting.
It makes sense.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Actually, no, don't talk to me. If you are listening to this, like, leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Fully leave me alone.
I did. Like, she hates you. That's crazy.
It's like just so unnecessary. I'm happily in a relationship. I don't need to talk to you.
Comment on the post because I want to know. Do it for me. You don't have to talk to her. Talk to me. Hey, yo.
Like, yeah, all y'all, just leave me alone. Like
that is fair. That is fair. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, but. Also, too, I think like when you're younger, you assign a lot of like worth to like the relationships that you're in. Whereas as you get older, I think you can learn that you know your worth isn't attributed to relationships or to this person.
Right.
You have worth intrinsically, and you don't need a relationship to affirm that. And that takes time to learn. So when you're in this like when you're having these like first few relationships or couple relationships, it's harder because you're still learning that. That kind of goes into why do people break up, we think. I have a Forbes article.
Wow. Forbes, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You over here researching for the podcast. I'm so proud of you. I'm pulling out articles.
I know.
Not just tweets. Oh my goodness.
10th episode. I'm really in this. I'm really invested.
She's actually a podcaster, guys.
Exactly. And I'm really excited about this, like you were saying. And like they
know I'm excited.
Yeah,
about it.
I know. I
didn't
express it at the top of the episode when you were, but I am very excited about this, and I'm enjoying doing this podcasting very much. I enjoy putting podcaster in my bio.
Hey yo.
But I did look at a Forbes article where I looked up like why do people break up, like research or whatever. This Forbes article came up and they listed a ton. We honed in on some key ones, but I'll just go ahead and like list the whole thing.
Yeah, list the whole thing for the people.
So the list was, why do people break up? Loss of respect. They grew apart. There are arguments, unfaithfulness, infidelity.
I have a lot to say about that one.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. We're definitely going to have a infidelity episode.
I think every single time we record, we always say at least once that we definitely need to talk about that in another episode.
And we definitely will.
No, I'm just saying it's funny that we do.
Yeah.
Different interests, moved, financial issues, not helping with domestic tasks like housework.
Yeah.
Sex difficulties, naturally.
Yeah.
Not having children, and substance abuse. Yeah.
Mac Miller, Ariana Grande.
R.I.P. Mac Miller.
Yeah.
I feel like out of respect for the
We have
dead,
to say it.
I'm not gonna.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah, and a couple of those are kind of like they can kind of be enmeshed, and one affects the other. But I think some of those are kind of the root of like why people break up, which I think number one is loss of respect.
Yeah, 100%. It's really hard to come back from. Very, very hard to come back from. I think respect, I don't know if we said this in the other episodes or not.
Yeah, because we have talked about respect.
Honestly, I don't remember if we did.
I think we
alluded to it.
I think we've like touched on
like in episode 3, huh?
Maybe,
Something
yeah.
like that. I don't know. But respect is such an important thing. Because like, why are you with a person if you don't like value their existence enough to have some sort of adoration, admiration, respect for them?
Right.
And without that, you can't really necessarily see a person as a human being.
No. If you don't respect them, you can't trust them, you can't relate to them.
All the things that we were saying that works, like the tools, the intimacy tools.
Right.
We should have put respect on that too, because like if you don't respect them,
all of those things you can't.
They're useless.
Yeah.
Damn, they're not even worth doing it for.
Yeah. You can't be grateful for someone you don't respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
You can't appreciate
a
person you don't respect. You can't empathize with them. Goodness. You're definitely not going to be, you don't care about being honest with them.
Yeah.
It's hurting my soul a little bit.
Like, damn, this is rough. What do you think? Because I found it hard for me. I thought about it. I found it hard for me to answer this question. What do you think happens that a person, like what happens that then a person loses respect for their partner? Do you know what I mean? Like what's the situation that occurs in your mind when that happens?
The first thing that popped up is resentment. So unmet expectations that as an actualized person you're communicating, they just don't live up to the promises that they made at the beginning of the relationship. They're not honoring the negotiations that you guys had.
Yeah.
And constantly trying to make up the difference that they're not adding. But you already made the commitment, so you could participate in the interaction.
Right.
But as you're participating, it's taking so much from you that you're not seeing the value of it. And once you can't see the value of something, you instantly just don't care about it. And the lack of concern will naturally lead to a lack of respect. They're not a person worthy of your attention in that capacity.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
And even to that point, right? It's like people do not just all of a sudden wake up one morning and have no respect for their partner.
Right.
It's a process.
It's
a process that, again, for the people that we're talking about, should have been clarified.
Yeah.
So if you're not, or if that happens, you were definitely not doing something.
Yeah.
There's like a deficit on your end.
Yeah.
On the person
the respect was lost for.
They were not doing something to maintain that respect.
I do wonder though whether there's like a situation in which loss of respect could just be something that's mutual in a sense. I say that because I did there was like this TikTok that came up. Obviously I was like typing in everything about breakups and like research. So my phone picked up on it. Thank you, technology. This TikTok came up with this guy was talking about breakups, and he associated loss of respect to no longer sharing values or a loss of shared values. And I'm personally struggling with the connection, but I guess I could see it because, if you can no longer, the opinion that your partner holds, the perspective on life or, viewpoints or whatever changes in a way that you no longer agree with, I can't respect your opinion. You know what I mean?
The natural thing that people always say is I don't know who you are anymore.
Right. Yeah. That's like the way that they convey that 100%.
You're not the person I fell in love with.
Exactly. Oof. Gosh, that's tough to hear.
Indeed. Yeah, lack of respect. Or like when you have to go out of your way to make up the difference in relationships. Yeah. You instantly fall into the dynamic of paternal and child.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So, paternal? Is that father? I think that is father. But like
into like the caregiver nurturing.
Offspring, yeah. So you really become parental. That's the word I was looking for.
Parental.
Not paternal. Paternal is fatherly.
It's just flipped around. Same letters.
Right?
We're good.
You get this really parental and like parentified situation where I speak against this a lot with my little cousins and stuff, but adults don't respect children at all.
No.
I don't know if they need to or they should. That's a completely different conversation, but they don't. Children respect adults because they're taught to.
Right.
But if you have to like if you start feeling like very parentified in your relationship with another adult, you'll naturally lose respect for them because that's not how that dynamic is supposed to function in the first place.
I mean, it kills everything. Like everything is dead
when
literally. You are having to
no
parent
attraction, no desire,
adult,
all that stuff is just gone.
Right, 100%.
I have to pick up after you. Type shit.
No, I agree. I do think though, like when talking about like say someone who's like dating in like their early 20s, that the reasons why they are breaking up may not necessarily directly have to do with like loss of respect. I think it's different reasons when you're like dating at like 23, say. I mean, maybe a lot of the reasons being like you moved, you graduated college and you moved.
For what it's worth, I don't see many people graduating college and breaking up with their significant others. Yeah. I actually didn't experience that. But what I do experience is one, they outgrow their partner, which is much more common, which is another form of the lack of respect thing. So like maybe they're not actively like parentifying their people, but they are just progressing faster in life. Yeah, they're going different trajectory. People in their 20s break up because they didn't even do the work at the beginning of the relationship to figure out if this was a worthy long-term interaction. People unnecessarily stay in interactions that they shouldn't have let go on longer anyways. And it's also true that comes from the nature of why and how people get together in those years. Yeah. It's usually from a hookup. It's usually from like a party situation. So the context in which you meet these people is already charged. Right. And it's probably you have a friend group that they're like integrated in. Right. So you spend a lot of time together. The world of college and like young adulthood. It's like proximity type relationships. It's more proximity. And if you're interacting with someone based on proximity and not based on compatibility. Yeah. You're naturally just gonna. That's usually not gonna work out. Even though, again, everything's so real for people that are like teenagers and like early 20s. Everything like matters so much. So, 100%. Like you were saying that you couldn't end it because you thought you were gonna marry this person because he was so significant to you. Right. But you had no perspective on. In hindsight, I'm like, I don't even think I really loved him. Yeah, exactly. So it's like they have this grandiose sense of life in the world and their own emotions that they don't have context for. So they stay with situations that probably aren't edifying for them. Yeah. And it reaches a breaking point because it was never meant to be together in the first place. Right. So, 100%. More power to you, young people. Keep it pushing. You got it. Right. You got this. You got this. Keep on keeping on. To that point too, though, but like, breakups are not the end all be all either. Especially like this is mostly for those like younger people. Yeah. And you know this because you broke up. Once you broke up with the 18-year-old, it was like stressful. I was also 18. Right. When you were 18, you dated with the boy, the first relationship. Let's not put ages on it. When you broke up with your first boyfriend. Yeah. You were like tormented for a little bit, but then I was so tormented. You like got over it and you realized in retrospect, like that was not actually a great relationship. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I think being that young, you can only learn so much from a breakup. I think I learned more from my second breakup than I did my first. I hopped into my next relationship, skipped and jumped into my next relationship relatively quickly. Not quick for a college kid, but quick in retrospect. Like within a year, right? Within a couple months, few months. Really? Yes, that relationship ended. My first relationship ended in like October, officially. Like maybe it was like September, October. And then I had met my second college boyfriend, January. Wow, so that's news to me. I hopped, skipped, and jumped. Yeah, anyways, whoa. But I think because of the closeness of those relationships, that's why I learned a lot more from that second breakup. You did not have time to process that first one at all. No. Nor did you really have to. You were a child. So. Right, exactly. It's fine. That's what I'm saying. I was like, it was what it was. I was 18, so that's what it was going to be. No judgment. Just pity.
Yeah, for sure. But that being said, I feel like that's the process of the breakup after my second relationship, I feel like is where I have most of my like understanding of the ways that I process through that and ways that I think that like were really good. And then obviously there are ways that I think a lot of people tend to do, but I think are ultimately not for your benefit. You know, it doesn't benefit you or do you any good at the end of the day.
How so?
I think we're kind of going to go into it. Even like one of my big rules of after you break up with someone, like how to handle a breakup, how to interact with your ex, you don't. I'm such a big like no contact with your ex person, especially like the first like 2 to 3 months post the breakup.
Right.
It's like that's like critical period right there. It's
So let's just go into that since you brought it up. Why not?
Why not? Let's get into it.
Get into it.
You are, as we've just discussed, in like after a relationship, you've built up this like this future, this everything. And not just that, your body is literally reliant on this person for all the good chemicals that go through your brain.
That's true.
This is like, your ex is a drug.
You know, that's something we did not talk about at all when we were discussing like romance and all this stuff. We were so engrossed in this idealistic self-actualized interaction.
We really were.
That we did not talk about how romance and love is kind of a stress response.
Yeah. And it's like literally addicting, you know, like you're getting those dopamine hits constantly just by cuddling, you know, like it's like your body is literally used to the comfort, the support, like, and not even just physically, like you're used to like the emotional support, the mental, the physical, the spiritual.
So in a lot of ways, it's kind of more intense than a drug.
Right. And so you really are like needing to detox this person. And by staying in contact in any capacity with your ex outside of like what's like absolutely necessary, you are just feeding the beast, feeding the monster, feeding the addict that's within you. And it doesn't end up actually serving you. You end up holding on and to that thing because you're not actually giving yourself the time to really separate yourself and think about the future that you're going to have without them.
Right.
You have to confront that.
You have to create something else after all that future plan you were doing with them.
Right.
On top of the fact that you're like emotionally and like you're chemically dependent.
Right. And it's like, you know, and maybe it's like a little harsh and unreasonable to be like, might as well start immediately. But
no,
like,
yeah.
but
Cold turkey is the most effective.
Yeah, but might as well cold turkey that bitch and just cut them off. Like, get what you need to get. Have your friends. Like, you know, like there are ways to do these things, and it's completely
like actual drugs.
Completely necessary. Yeah. do actual drugs. Is that what you said?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my God.
There's ways to get your fix, like actual drugs.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
My God.
Do cocaine. Know what I mean? Like,
Right. Totally. Okay, for sure. Yeah. I mean that's all right.
That's an option.
Oh my God.
That's a vibe. Sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think also too, another thing that really bothers me with kind of the rhetoric that's out there when people give advice about how to get over breakups and the language that they will use. You always hear someone say, you know, like, you know, focus on yourself, like all these good things, like, you know, you're going to be better from this, you can grow. And he's going to miss you. Just remember that once he realizes what he lost, he's going to miss you.
Yeah.
No, bitch. No, he's not. Stop thinking about him. He's not going to miss you.
He's not going to miss you.
And even if he does, what does that do for you? What does it do if he's thinking about you or not? The relationship is over. It ended for a reason. Focus on the reason why it ended.
It wasn't the wrong time.
Yeah.
It wasn't the wrong person. It
wasn't the one that got away.
Yeah, no, it's just
all these little like things that we tell ourselves to stay in this like romantic ideal and fan. I get it. I totally get it.
They're such a good person. You just don't understand. He has so much more. He's just struggling with so much things. Like,
Even if it was a healthy relationship, even if it was like a perfectly healthy relationship, like there's no like, oh, well, you know, it was so healthy. Like just take the time like for yourself to really like reflect, which we'll talk about. Like take the time to like figure out and sort yourself out, like and mourn and grieve without that influence of that person being back. You can't truly mourn when they're still like in your sphere of existence.
I agree. It's really hard too, if you guys are like in the same friend group and stuff like that.
That is difficult. There are definitely scenarios where it's like it's not as easy as it sounds, right?
I say just cut off the entire friend group. Take your time. What's 2 months without those motherfuckers?
Yeah. No, honestly, and your good friends will still see you. They will take the time to come see you, and I hopefully will understand. Like, oh, is he going to be there? Yep, I can't come.
I can't. I'm not doing it.
Can we do something like
Absolutely
just us
not.
and not invite him? They'll say yes.
Hopefully.
If they're your good friends. If they're genuinely your friends in every sense of the word, then yes, they will.
I think it's so annoying when they have all these self-empowerment, self-sufficiency narratives that they try to tell you, but then all of a sudden, it's like, no, you need validation from the other person so you can move forward, because like, when they miss you, you know that what you had was worth it.
Right.
It's like, no.
No.
I think the silliest thing is to try to seek validation from the person that you had to break up with.
Yeah.
It just doesn't necessarily make sense to me. Don't seek validation through your ex's opinions.
No.
Because
they're an ex for a reason.
They're an ex for a reason. 1, 2, their opinion, like you were saying, should not matter.
Yeah.
Because you have to exist. And like we were saying before, relationships take a lot of work. Unraveling from that mindset, from that framework, also takes a lot of work.
Totally.
And you have to kind of rely on yourself now again. So basing it off of whether or not, like, oh, at least they like trying to seek some sort of comfort from by trying to gauge how much they cared about you.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for disaster. It's setting yourself up to failure, because now you're going to check to see how much they cared. And then that leads to accessing them in some way, which leads to contacting them, which leads to seeing them, which leads to putting yourself in a situation that you have no business doing. You have to treat it, like you were saying, like a drug addiction.
Yeah, totally. And even within that, you are, like you were saying, you're seeking this external thing, like a validation from this person, from this ex, like, okay, to affirm your worth, etc. Like, even then, what could happen is you're now, then the next relationship you seek out, are you seeking out like the next relationship in order to like affirm that worth again? Because that maybe the ex like doesn't give you the time of day with that, is like has moved on, so now you just kind of like, you like a drug addict, you
go to the next drug.
when you lose your supplier, you try and find another, versus just being like, okay, I need to find this within myself. I need to be able to understand and know my worth intrinsically.
Right.
That should be the work that you're doing in that.
Which isn't to say that you have to, hate your ex.
No, but
Right.
no, I mean,
Because the next narrative that people often find themselves in is, he didn't deserve you. You could do so much better. He wasn't worth your time. And they really try to invalidate the entire experience that they spent so long and so hard cultivating for themselves.
Right.
I don't think that's an effective form of grieving.
No.
Grieve. Like you said, grieving is necessary. You need to take the time and feel the full extent of the feelings that you're going to feel.
Yeah.
That should not involve invalidating the experience that you had.
Because it's not honest.
Yeah.
How can you truly grieve when you're not being honest about it?
I
Honest
agree.
with yourself. You're not going to be able to move on when you're doing that.
I agree. Because in some level that you were in that for a reason.
Yes.
And you enjoyed it for a reason.
Right.
So by invalidating that, you're just confusing yourself. And then when you confuse yourself, you're destroying the trust that you've built up with your own self. Like, if that experience was that horrible, then how can I trust myself to pick someone useful? Might as well just go back to them.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So grieve effectively. To grieve effectively, you have to appreciate the good. So you'll have your days where you're just like reminiscing and you're feeling great and it's like a good time and you're having the time of your life, like, wow, we used to laugh about this, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll have other days where it's just like you're just sobbing in the darkness under a blanket, eating your tub of ice cream. Oh. Yeah, what a loser. But
oh my gosh. It was so funny. And my second breakup, there was a Netflix movie that came out with that girl from Jane the Virgin. I forget her name, the actor.
either, yeah.
And the movie, I forget what it was called. But it was basically about like her being in this really long-term relationship and he breaks up with her.
Well, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Worst movie, but also the best at the same time to watch fresh out of a breakup. I was sobbing in that. But it was so cathartic. And like I needed a day. Like I literally, like I think I took time off of work
and cry out on Netflix special.
I was sad.
Yeah, clearly. Clearly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was devastated. And so I took the day and I was like, I just cannot. I was still in college, so stayed in my dorm.
Aww.
And it was horrible, but also like very like cathartic and very necessary. So do what you need to do. Let yourself exist in those feelings
but
of grief.
Appreciate it.
Exactly, 100%.
Appreciate the beauty that is.
Yeah.
Because man, like I said, it's so sad to have put in all that work just to. Like that wasn't what it was. Like no, it definitely was what it was, which is why you spent so much time in it.
Right, like name it. Like don't shy away from like what that was.
And also don't let other people invalidate that for you either.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of people's defaults to just be like, no, he doesn't deserve you. That's not it. Whatever. It's like, no, that was my boyfriend. I loved him.
Right.
Defend it because it's a thing worth defending.
Yes.
Don't just like even if you didn't have respect for the person, like let's say you lost respect for him, have respect for what you guys built together. Because like we were saying before, people put so much value and so much attention on monogamy in the sense that it needs to last.
Yeah.
Right? But like you were in your rant that you were having about it's like the experience itself has intrinsic value.
So much.
And you should value that.
Yeah.
Because coming together and cultivating an interaction and having a relationship and loving a person is so hard to do.
Putting in that time and effort to like know someone, love someone, be there for someone and have them be there. That's like that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it sucks that it didn't work out, but like there's so much that can be learned from your relationship. So take the value. There had to have been some value from that person that they provided in your life.
That was the next thing that we were going to talk about, right? Because I was leading to, if you can appreciate it for what it was, then you can reflect properly. You grieve properly, you reflect properly.
100%.
And in that reflection, you're now synthesizing and isolating the parts of the relationship that actually had value that you can take into your other things. Maybe you found out that you had a boundary that you didn't know existed that is a real deal breaker for you that you can bring into all your other relationships.
Yeah.
Maybe he did something that you really like. Brought you flowers to your work every Thursday.
Yeah.
Now you know that's something that you can ask for because you really appreciate it. You know that that's how you really be shown that a person's really invested in you.
Right.
Type stuff. So if you can't find a single thing to extrapolate from your relationship, you aren't processing it correctly.
I agree. Because even say like worst case scenario, maybe a horrible person, things that you can learn from that, there's still lessons in there. There's still value from that person, from that person's existence and you existing with them that you learn from them.
It's like, not about the person or the relationship itself, about you and your interaction in those experiences.
So like you say like a bad situation, you learn like, okay, these are the expectations that I want to have from my partner. I don't want to be treated this way. So on and so forth.
You recognize what gaslighting is.
Right.
You recognize what abuse looks like. You recognize how manipulation can sound.
Right. 100%.
Those are valuable. They suck. They hurt.
Right. They're not great at all. Right.
But there's still value in that. And
that's a way to like then own that experience as well, you know?
Because how sad is it, even if it's like super toxic, to just cast out the entire moment as a waste of time.
Yeah.
Even if there's no like intrinsic meaning, like let's say, because there are some interactions that like there's no lessons to be learned, right?
Sure.
Imbue meaning from it. Like take something from, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to move forward. That would be insane.
Yeah. Some of the ways that I, in both my breakups that I did, that was helpful for me, even though I'm not the biggest journaling type person.
Well, you had a diary?
Somewhat. Like, but I wrote pros and cons lists for my relationships once like the relationship had ended, because I would get so so in my head, and I would, like you're saying,
did I make the right decision?
There's such like an array of emotions that you feel. On one hand, you like start hating them, you're angry, and you're like, you know what, this wasn't, I'll find someone better, blah, blah, blah. You get into this like, fuck you type of situation. And then on the other hand, you're like, oh, but they were so great, and they did this for me, and it was amazing, and I love them for it. And then
cheek on Saturday, September 6th.
Or like you're so caught up in like, I don't know, like the story of it, you know,
the narrative,
of how we met, and it was beautiful. It was going to be everything. I would get so caught up in like the array of the emotions and the vastness of the emotions. It was really helpful for me to write down in terms of like ways to reflect on that relationship and ways to like help yourself move on. Like write pros and cons lists. Don't be afraid of writing the pros. Face the pros, like you're saying, and learn like because I think people when they say, oh, fuck him, he doesn't deserve you, blah, 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 they're saying that out of like there just can't be anything good that happened from the situation because he didn't want me at the end of the day, or she didn't want to be with me at the end of the day. So I'm betrayed by you. So fuck you. You're all wrong.
You betrayed my intentions.
Right. Sure.
I can't love her.
Right. But like we were just saying, take the pros, understand the pros, and move with that. But I think it is like nice to like kind of see the juxtaposition of like all the pros and all the cons of that relationship, and being like, okay, like it wasn't all bad, it wasn't all good, it was human. You know, a relationship, he was a person that I was in a relationship with, and he's just human. And it also hopefully helps put it into perspective that you are not going to just enter into a new relationship and it's all going to be like roses and sunshine, right? That you're just existing with these people. As I think I've said this before, where like, you know, if relationships are chemistry, you know, it's chemical like reactions that are happening, and kind of putting that into perspective. And it also hopefully will help you then get that perspective to take you out of, oh, failed relationship, oh, like it didn't work out, it's woe is me, but just understanding the completion and the beauty of what existed between you.
Right. And I was talking to a friend about this the other day. How like I like to look at relationships and like just the experience and the sentiment and the emotions of romance as like just a disembodied energy that exists in space around you, right?
Right.
A lot of people have a breakup, something didn't work out, and they're so quick to disconnect and close off their heart and like get hardened and build up their walls so they'll never be hurt again, right?
Right.
I'm saying, while I understand the desire to like protect yourself, and it's actually very smart to protect yourself against things that can hurt you.
Right.
I'm not saying just be foolish,
completely open,
oblivious, delusional, whatever.
Right.
But there is a very beautiful thing about feeling things that people are trying to, like the goal is to feel things. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And if you can access those emotions for someone, I find it to be a beautiful thing. Yeah. So instead of hardening your heart and just being closed off, to appreciate the good allows you to maintain access to the energy, right? Like you have a little plug, a little outlet, and you can keep yourself plugged in, right? Bloop. Right, exactly. Right. So, because they don't. For the people that aren't seeing, you can just check yourself right in and maintain those emotions so that when you find another person, you can direct that flow to them instead of having to unravel and unpack and open all these locks and chains and safes to get you back to where you're supposed to be, because not everyone is willing to wait for that. And you will like dismiss that immediately and be like, well, that's not your person. But also you should give yourself your best chance, because if this is about experiences and matching with people that can provide value to your life, why wouldn't you want every opportunity to do so? Right.
No, I think you really hit something there, because I think people that do that, close themselves off and harden their heart, what do they want? They want, like, they've been hurt because they want a fulfilling relationship, yet you're doing the very thing that will keep you from being able to successfully do that.
Exactly. So don't close yourself off to the energy. Feel the energy fully.
Yeah.
And just direct it.
Right.
To yourself first.
Through journaling.
And then you can like circulate it in yourself and then project it outwards, and you'll attract the exact same person that you need.
Yeah. And not even just through journaling also. I know I said journaling, but like really utilize like, granted, I know that you hear stories of people talking about having gone through breakups and feeling as if their friends weren't there for them as much as they wish that their friends were.
Yeah.
So it can be tough as a friend to like, because it is such an emotional thing, and taking that extra time to be there for your friend can be extra energy that you're putting into that.
And also just being around a person that you know is miserable and you know why they're miserable, and like just hearing that over and over.
It can be
tough.
Yeah.
Exhausting. It can be tiring. It's like, oh man, she's depressed. What's wrong? Michael. And it's like over and over. Okay.
Right. I think though, as a person who's like going through a breakup, utilize your friends to bring you out of that, like, and definitely, hopefully you have friends who will, from time to time and when necessary and when needed, be there for you to rant or vent, or if you feel like you're about to text your ex when you shouldn't be because no contact, you text your friend instead. But really
I
allow.
feel like texting him.
Yeah.
Is a very effective text. I used to do that.
Yeah. 100%. And you know what? They'll tell you, he don't deserve you, girl.
Actually, the thing that actually really helps, if you ever get a text like that from your friend, call them.
Yeah. 100%.
Don't text back. Call them immediately.
If they tell you I'm about to text my ex, give them a call.
Yep.
Distract them. But in that, like, use your friends to help distract you and bring you out of that world of I'm going through a breakup, thinking about this person constantly. Allow them to bring you out of that, back into reality. Use your friends to help ground you, because it can be hard and you feel like, oh, but I want to talk about it all the time. You don't. Allow your friends to bring that out, because eventually it'll become less and less difficult to get brought out of that slowly over time, and allow your friends to be that thing that chips away and centers you.
Yeah. And to that point, I would argue you don't want to talk about it to your friends immediately.
Yeah. Or all the time.
I would recommend keeping it to yourself for a while so you can really have the time to process what that is without external influence. Because I think
the right friends will.
Even the right friends. Because every perspective adds something to the pot.
Sure.
Right? But the only perspective that's really as important, that really matters, is yours first and foremost.
Totally.
So if you haven't processed it and you're still grieving it out and like doing all this stuff, your natural inclination is to share like how you're feeling with your friends. You need to get through that in your own brain first.
But sometimes friends or these other people in your community are great soundboards for you to verbally process. So I don't necessarily co-sign to the idea of like keeping it in your head. I don't think that works for everyone.
Fair enough.
I think like some people, it would be helpful to like, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe because I agree, there may be sometimes some friends that you may have that really kind of give their advice and really affect and skew your perspective. And it's maybe not of you, like that point of view. Not that it's necessarily bad, just not of you. But I think, I guess the right friend, or if they're doing it right in that scenario, really just allowing you to vent and like release whatever shit is in your brain that you're so scrambled up with.
Then I guess said differently, let venting be venting.
Yeah.
And request that your friends don't offer input for a while.
Yeah. I think
unless you have very specific questions about a situation, they may know, like if you guys were, if like, let's say they were closer to your relationship. Like this happened. Like, what did you think about this when that happened? Right.
Yeah. To provide some like maybe context in that regard.
Exactly.
For sure.
Friends should be a tool that you utilize for your reflection. They shouldn't be influencing the way you reflect.
I agree.
That's more my point.
I agree with that.
Indeed. In the spirit of getting your friends to distract you, you don't want to because you're breaking down the relationship that you were forming with a person, and you have your spots and your memories that are associated with different spots, your home, your house.
Totally.
I would say you go out with yourself and your friends and your family and all this stuff to create new memories in different places.
Yeah.
Or new memories in the same place, so that you can start to create new associations with the environments that you are a part of. because
new like neural pathways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because humans are so susceptible to the places that they are, the environments that they put themselves in. And if you're just in your home, in your room, that have sheets that still smell like them, you probably have a hoodie in your closet you're wearing because you're weird.
Yeah.
All that stuff, right? You want to separate yourself from that as much as possible. That is not advice to go to the club and the bars to hook up with some random sleaze that is you're going to like project your grieving onto. That's not what that means. But like, go into nature, like go on a hike, exercise, go to the beach.
Right. I really like that, because even taking it back to like what like literally is happening with your body, there's a little literal imprint that this person has left on you as all close people, your parents, your best friend, etc. have left on you. What? The homie?
The homie though.
And so, like you're saying, like there are literal neural pathways that your brain has of memories that are like strong and thick ass neural pathways.
Yeah.
From
wild ass adjectives when you go off.
Hey, them neural pathways are thick.
Hey, those are thick ass
three C's.
Thick with 3 C neural pathways. What is she talking about?
Relationships. Get your mind out of the gutter. Anyways. That you have formed with this person. So I agree. It's like that's super important. Like to go back to the same place where you had a great memory with your with this ex, and make a new memory with like your best friend. Change the narrative to like going back to what we had said about I forget exactly what, but just own the grief and like the relationship and the loss, and take control of that. Obviously it's easier said than done. Right. And like there's like a period of time for sure where it is very much expected, and I would actually be weirded out if you weren't like completely depressed and just like, grieving in whatever way. But when you feel like you're ready for that, take ownership of those spaces. Don't let those spaces control you. Now you're even though now you and your ex are no longer together, they are still influencing what you do. Don't allow that. Yeah.
And to that point of ownership, I think if you're grieving and you're feeling some type of way about feeling some type of way about this ex, I think it's okay.
Yeah,
because
totally.
If you're feeling sad and you're grieving and it's really affecting you emotionally, that just means it was an experience that was worth feeling this way over.
Yeah.
It means you felt something. And that's never in my brain a bad thing.
No.
Feeling something is always better than feeling nothing. Trust me, I've lived a life of apathy. And I can definitely say that feeling something is better than nothing. Yeah. So refrain from like, I guess I was saying this is kind of the same thing, like closing yourself off. Yeah. It's like, oh well, like if I'm not affected, I can like function, and then I guess it doesn't matter trying to make it insignificant for yourself under the guise of keeping it together. Sure. It's like, nah, man, bawl your eyes out. It's okay. Yeah.
Let it out.
And if you're a man, punch a pillow or something.
Punch a pillow.
Because we don't cry around here.
Oh,
that's crazy.
For sure. I don't support that. I will not co-sign.
You don't have to co-sign. I'm just speaking about reality, okay, Renee.
For sure.
It is what it is. I think that's pretty much wrapping it up for the most part. I don't necessarily have a lot more to say about it, but I do think that to answer my previous question earlier, right? We heard your answer. Yeah. Don't talk to your ex. Don't be friends with your ex. You can't be friends with your ex, right? Yeah. I also don't think you can be friends with your ex, but it's because I don't think that, I think that relationships move in a very forward linear direction. Okay. So each time you level up an interaction, you can't subtract. Once you're an acquaintance of someone, you'll never be a stranger. Once you're a friend, you'll never be an acquaintance. Right. Once you're a lover, you'll never be a friend. Yeah. So once you're in a relationship, once you're an ex, I don't think you can go backwards into friendship, because relationships are higher on the hierarchy of relationships. Yeah. And you can't function going from a hierarchy to a deficit. You can only go from a deficit to a hierarchy.
Yeah. The laws of physics.
There's
energy
some
flow.
sort of thermodynamic situation happening
You
that
think?
I will explain once I realize which psychophysiological
Oh wow, you're speaking German.
physical physics terms apply to that. Metaphysical terms apply to that. But
Gotcha.
there is some sort of transitional property of energy that can't be created or destroyed.
Yeah.
I fucking don't know.
No, you're saying some with the right words. It cannot be created or
Yeah,
destroyed.
I mean, I'm saying them correctly. I don't know if they apply to the point I'm trying to make. Like, we're saying the right thing, sure.
Yeah, but like that energy that is put in on the romantic level
will always be there.
Will always exist in there, and that can't be destroyed. It was already created.
But that also brings up another question that I want to continue in a other conversation. I think I want this to be its own conversation.
Okay.
And I'm so very curious as to why people feel the need to be friends with their ex. And at the moment I ask that, I start to formulate some ideas, which is how my brain works. But I do want to like chat about that a little bit. It can be like maybe one of those sub episodes we do type shits.
Yeah.
But
no, I definitely like, why are we so insistent on it?
why is that so important to us? Because in my brain, if it ends for a reason. I don't necessarily care.
Yeah.
Even if I love these people, some people that I've really been like super attached to that just completely fell apart.
Right.
And I'll like talk to them. I won't hate them, but I have no real desire to formulate some sort of significant bond with them.
Right.
Because they didn't value the bond that I was giving them in the first place.
Right.
I don't trust them to value it after the fact.
Yeah, that's a really great way to put it.
So I don't know the reason why people would want that, except for the very obvious reason. And I think it's an issue that a lot of people find themselves, men and women, in new relationships. They find themselves dealing with the legacy of these past humans that, as a self-actualized individual, or even just as a person trying to not manipulate and invalidate and gaslight another person's feelings, you don't necessarily want to invalidate the way that they feel. And this is a person that had an effect on them.
Right.
Imagine you coming in, like this brand new person that has no stake in this person's life, coming in like pissing on their past. We just talked about how we should value the past. I can't then come now and say that is meaningless in the face of what we're trying to create. So how do I negotiate trying to validate the experience and also cultivate my own one with them?
I don't know that that's like necessarily, we'll obviously have to talk
Flesh
about this more, but I don't know that's necessarily your job to validate the meaning of that relationship.
Not actively trying to validate.
Okay.
Trying your best not to invalidate it.
Gotcha.
Not stepping on any toes. Right?
Okay.
'Cause it meant something.
Yeah.
And I want it to mean something. I'm glad it meant something.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, stop feeling that it meant something so that you can pay attention to me. Right?
Sure.
So, but I don't necessarily know the language to go about that without invalidating it completely. Because you want it, you clearly want it more than you want an interaction. You're clearly clinging to the past more than you want an interaction in the present.
Right, exactly. I don't know. I don't necessarily think like the person, it's their job to necessarily be careful about their words in that regard. Like,
because you should be straight up
in terms of like trying to make sure you're not invalidating. Well, no, you guys are
not completely invalidate that shit.
Right. Like, yes, no, but like, it's not your job to worry about that. You're existing in this current interaction, and you want that person to be very present in that current interaction as well. You have the right to ask that of them.
Then I guess in the future we're going to talk about emotional availability.
Ooh, yeah.
Something we have in spades. But just to summarize.
Yeah.
In conclusion, just because it ended doesn't mean it doesn't matter. It's not a worthless.
I know, literally. What are we saying?
Why? It's not a worthless experience.
Yeah.
There's value in everything if you imbue it with the meaning that it contains.
It wasn't a failed relationship. You didn't fail at anything. It was fulfilled in the time that it existed in. It was a fulfilled one.
Beautiful.
Thank
so
you.
Beautiful.
Side note, I always, listening back to our episodes, I always love the way we just like really like affirm one
Right.
another.
Oh my God, that was so good.
We think we're each other. We think we're geniuses. And you know what? I love that for us.
We have to, because I actually do think
right?
that. I think we're so profound. Like, wow, I can't believe you said beautiful queen. Yes, please.
Such a great,
What'd you say?
friendship.
You said something. What'd you say? You just said it, that I was like affirming.
Oh, it wasn't a failed relationship.
Yeah.
It was a fulfilled one.
You fulfilled it, and it completed its time around the sun.
Exactly. It was completion.
I love it.
Yeah. Even God himself understood the importance of completion.
It is finished. Oh.
Yes.
Damn.
So take a note from God himself.
God, yeah. Are you gonna argue with God? No.
Are you gonna no? Anyway,
No.
so there you go. Point blank, period.
Exactly. So take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, we want your relationships to be edifying and fruitful. And we're going to, in the next couple weeks, explore different subjects and different avenues about situations and ideas that people kind of go through that may or may not make their relationships long term, right?
We're definitely going to hop around some topics a little bit, have some fun with it that I'm excited about. So kind of going away from this like series type talk where we're,
talking to a very specific audience of self-actualized people that may or may not exist.
Right.
So,
probably don't. Like,
right.
let's be honest.
Let's be real. But again, do you think you can be friends with your ex?
Yes.
Are you friends with your ex?
How is that going?
And
are you in a current relationship and also friends with your ex? How is that going?
How does your significant other feel about that? And are you still in love with your ex? All these questions, like, we just want to know.
Tell us in the comments whether you're still in love with your ex, even though you're in a current relationship.
Right.
Yeah, ruin your relationship for us, please. Thank you.
I mean, honesty is key, right?
This
if you're
is
not
true.
being honest, then there's no real reason to continue what you have.
You're actually
You're wasting both of your guys' time.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there, but at the end of the day, one more time, I'm Jem.
And I'm Renee.
And we are the
Intellectuals.
signing off for the last time. Not the last time, whoa.
Oh my God.
Until next time. Signing off until next time. Wow. For sure.
All right. Bye.